Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and all of the potential Toastmasters who are out there watching today. Welcome to Wake Up with Toastmasters. I am your host, Ken Richardson, the District 115 Club Growth Director, and my co-host today is the lovely Phyllis Tribby, Distinguished Toastmaster, past District Governor. How you doing this morning, Phyllis?
I can. Hello to our public. I am doing great. Still got the cold, but part of life in Las Vegas when it's cold.
Have you, did you get tested for COVID to make sure you're not?
I've got the home test.
I took that. When I had a cold, I did the same thing. I was concerned that, well, maybe I had picked up COVID, even though I have had all my shots and the booster. It's still, of concern. So I got the home test, took it twice on two different occasions, and knock on wood, I've been negative, and I'm pretty much over the cold. But so I wish you well. I know what you're going through, and hopefully you'll get over that soon. Well, today we're going to continue our discussion a little bit different angle, as our regular listeners know, or viewers know. The last three sessions, we have talked about being a chief judge, and we reviewed a lot of the information needed if you're going to be a chief judge in a contest. So we had a great presentation. So if you missed those, you can still find them on our Facebook page, on this Facebook page you're watching right now. Just scroll down and keep looking, and they are recorded and placed on there. And I know we are also working on posting a lot of these videos on our D115 website, but I don't think that's occurred yet. So we spent a lot of time talking about that the last 3 days, and I think it's been very, very worthwhile. And we decided that today we're going to continue our discussion about contests, and we're going to take a look at some other aspects of it in terms of the venue, the supplies, and some of the things that we may have forgotten over the last 2 years. Because for the last 2 years, we have been virtual, online. And this time, we are going to be in person for the first time in 2 years. So that, I think, requires us to take a look at some of these issues. So I'm going to share my screen. Of course, I've got a PowerPoint.
And would the day be without a PowerPoint?
Yeah, a day without PowerPoint is like a day without sunshine, isn't it? And anyway, so Phyllis, I want you to jump in here. We want to give everyone as much as we can. We may not get to finish all of this today, but as much as we can get through, we want to give you the tools you need to organize and put on an in-person speech contest. And don't worry, because we are going to have a full-blown 50-minute class at the upcoming District Executive Committee meeting on February 5th. Now, I organized this a little bit differently to look at categories of what I think of as the contest essentials. So we will, in turn, look at each of these. First, we're going to talk about creating a contest committee. Then we'll look at what sort of venue should we use for a contest. Talk about food. If you feed them, they will come for the most part. People love getting fed, so that's an important part of most contests. We'll look at a budget, or how it should be constructed, and the components that go into the budget, both the revenue side and the expense side. And then if we get to it, we have enough time, we'll talk about how the contest flows, how the opening goes, and then the end. Anything I've left out in this contest essentials here, Phyllis?
No, I don't think so. Volunteers, though, a big thing about volunteers, but I think probably hit volunteers on every one of those topics.
Exactly, and I've got that. I broke it down a little bit differently to talk about volunteers, but you'll see when I get there. So first, the contest committee. If you are the VPE of a club and you're organizing a club contest, or you're an area director or a division director, My recommendation is to establish a contest committee as soon as you can. What you want is to include contest officials and any other volunteers that you think can make a contribution. And when I say contest officials, I think of like the chief judge, someone who's going to be a raffle master to help you on the revenue side, people who are going to be taking care of the food, as many as you need. And then what you want them to do is you want to, as the chair, and that's typically going to be, let's say it's an area or division, that's going to be the area director, the division director. You want to assign members that can sort of select a venue. They may have to go to several different locations to see what they can find. We also need help recruiting volunteers. It takes a village, to coin a phrase, to put on a contest. So volunteers are always welcome. The other thing is you need volunteers to help get some raffle prizes. You really have, we'll talk about this in a little bit later, but you really have two sources of revenue, or three if you count donations. But if you charge a fee, it's typically nominal $5. And remember, you can't charge it to contestants. And then the other source are raffle prizes. And when I was a division governor, back in the old days, I had a person on my team who was just fantastic at getting raffle prizes. And we actually made enough money that I was able to give it to my successor for the next run. And if you do make money, because the goal is to break even, but if you make money, then you should give that to your division or the district to help them with the next level. So these are the things that I think are important about getting that committee up and running. Any comments that you want to add to this, Phyllis? What do you think?
No, other than, get as much as you can for free. That's the thing about it. Like the venue, if you have someone that has information, so you want to assign the members that have access to venues that you can get for free. So kind of know who your members are before you start assigning members to these various jobs. And raffle prizes, and being the raffle master is a key point in any contest.
That's a really great point. Talk to your members or to your colleagues that are working on this with you, because I know we have several areas that are working together, so those directors can talk. Do you have anyone who might have a meeting location, a venue that would be suitable for a contest? We'll talk about some of the things to look for. And then, of course, getting raffle prizes. That's always something. And then later, we're going to talk a little bit about the components of the budget, the basic components of the budget. Now, I've broken down the volunteers into different categories, and I've started with the contest officials. So we have our presiding officer, sort of the chief poobah in charge. And if it's an area contest, that's the area director. If it's a division contest, that's the division director. And of course, if it's the district contest, that's the district director. Then you may assign a contest chair. Now, when I did the division, I didn't have a contest chair outside of myself. And the reason for that was my division contest was my high performance leadership project that year. This was quite some time ago, but that's what I did. So I acted as the contest chair. So this was a role I didn't need to fill. On the other hand, there have been times when I have been asked to serve as the contest chair. And in that role, you are pretty responsible for, making sure everything happens the way it should. Everything from finding the venue, helping find the venue, creating the budget, and so forth. So a contest chair is an invaluable part of that. You need at least 2 Toastmasters. You need one for the evaluation contest and then another for the international contest. Typically, the way contests work today is when you have areas working together, you'll do, and since we're doing evaluation this year, you'll complete your evaluation contest, and then you'll go on to your international contest. And it's really, I think, a little bit too much to have the same Toastmaster for both. I think you need one for evaluation, one for international. What are your thoughts on that, Phyllis?
I think it's much easier on the Toastmaster. You'd be surprised how tiring it can be to stand during that 1 minute of silence. I know it's only 1 minute, but I've always thought maybe I ought to tap dance or something. So I would say yes, one Toastmaster per contest. I've seen a Toastmaster do it all, but I think it's probably very tiring on them. So I would say, yeah, you're right. One per contest.
Yeah, I think for that minute of silence, we need to make sure we have a good recording of the Jeopardy theme.
Is that what you're thinking? I'm thinking, am I standing still? What am I doing with my hands?
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. Am I breathing? Am I smiling? Do I have a frown on my face? I mean, everything goes through your mind during that 1 minute of silence.
It is a really long minute. I know. And it's crazy. Yes, you're absolutely right. And then you need at least 2 sergeants at arms, particularly if you were doing the evaluation contest or you were doing a table topics contest. You need 1 sergeant at arms to stay in the main room, while the second sergeant at arms goes to the room out of the main room, the auxiliary room, I guess we could call it, with the contestants and monitors them there and times them and what have you. So you need at least 2 sergeants at arms. So these are the contest officials. Then you need a judging team. And everyone on the judging team is required to wear the old English wig as seen here. No, I'm kidding. In general, your judges are anonymous. So we talked about contest officials. Here's your judging team. You've got a chief judge. And then you have voting judges, as we talked about. You need 5 to 7, 5 if it's an area contest, 7 if it's a division or district. And you can have more. I know a good friend of mine who has often been a chief judge in the past, and he likes to have 10, 8 to 10. Okay with me. You need 1 tie-breaking judge, and that judge remains anonymous, and you only count that vote, as we discussed, if there is a tie. You need 2 timers. You need 1 to manage the timing lights, and you should always have backup cards. We talked about not showing those cards. Let's say the lights go out. You don't want to confuse contestants. The lights crash on you. I don't know, you have an electrical overload or something. The batteries die at the wrong time. Then you wait and introduce the cards later. And that might be part of your briefing as well. And then you need 2 to 3 vote counters. So that's really your judging team. Now, I was asked this question the other day about what if you don't have any timing lights and you're just going to use cards? Well, that's okay. I mean, as long as you explain to the contestants, here are the cards we're going to be using. This is what they look like. Here's, you'll always have them here at the timers table. I prefer finding some timing lights. I think that's much easier. But the reason you need 2 timers is you're going to have 1 who's actually monitoring the time, 1 who's managing the timing, either the cards or the lights. So that's very important. Comments, Phyllis?
Well, on the timing lights, I always like to tell my timers, I want 1 sheet of paper from you. Mm-hmm. Do not each record. One person records. The 2 of you agree and write it down.
Yeah. And what do you think about the wig requirement? Is that something we need to talk to TI about, see if we can get this implemented?
The what requirement?
The wig, this wig the guy has on here. Don't you think we should?
Well, we're supposed to be anonymous.
Oh, darn.
Anybody could be anonymous wearing that.
Well, that's a good point. Darn. I'm just thinking of ways to sort of lighten things up here a bit. Okay, so then there are some contest helpers. So we talked about the contest officials, we talked about the judging team. Vitally important helpers include, you need at least 2 people at registration, signing people in. Now, you know, we've become so technologically savvy to some degree that you could set up a Sign Up Genius website, or you could have a pre-registration system that you would already print out and just check them off. Who's coming? That may be a little bit much, and it may be difficult to get everyone there, but you need to have a registration, and you need at least 2 people checking in then. The other thing that I think is good for the registration folks, if you have your dignitary list, they can check off which dignitaries are there, so it makes the presiding officer's job a little bit easier later on. You need 2 raffle masters. As we talked about, the raffle is important because it is a primary source of revenue. So you need at least 2, sometimes 3 if you're having a big contest. And you need to sell as many tickets as you can to help cover your costs. I'll say more about that a little bit. Then you need at least 4 people who are willing to come and help you with the setup and the cleanup. Because at most of these contests, you're going to have food, and we'll talk about that as well. So you're going to need help setting up. You may have to rearrange tables. You may have to set out chairs. So you want these folks to get there early and stay late and help you clean up and respect the venue to make sure that you put it back the way you found it. Your thoughts? You have anything to add on that?
All right, I'm ready for thoughts, and it's raffle master.
Okay, go ahead.
I cannot beg you enough. Please assign someone that has a voice, someone that's ready to go out and sell those tickets, because they're important. I have been at division contests, and somebody stands there next to the table, and that's all they do is they just stand there. And finally, I've taken it on myself to go out and sell tickets, because it's a matter of helping the presiding officer, to be able to pay for the venue and pay for the food. And if nobody's buying any tickets because you're not selling, you just can't wait around. You've got to go out and ask people to purchase tickets. And you got to know something about what's going on. At that particular contest, I think there was a handmade quilt. I mean, you got to push these things, what your great donations are, and sell those tickets. So find somebody that really has a voice, that's willing to go out and sell.
Yeah, typically you're right. I mean, your raffle's probably going to bring in more revenue than registration fee, because most contest committees will set a registration fee at about $5 or something, which doesn't bring in a lot. And you don't need a whole lot if you do a couple of things that we've already talked about, like getting a free venue and getting donations of food. We'll say more about that in a moment. I want to let you know that we do have some online folks this morning.
Great.
Renard, welcome. Glad that you're here. And Carol, welcome. And Jennifer. So everybody, so glad that they got up this morning to join us. We appreciate that very much, and hopefully you're getting something from our presentation today that you didn't know. I know we're not going to get through all of it, but we're going to soldier on. Now, the venue, let's talk about that. You want a central location as much as you can possibly get, because we have people coming from all over Southern Nevada to attend contests. It's fun, it's easy, you know. It's a great way to spend the day. You want something that's central, easy to get to with plenty of parking, and free. That's not always possible. So if you do have to pay for a venue, try to keep it minimal. One of the places that I've gone to, and I don't know their policies now, it's been a while, is like the Clark County Libraries. You know, as a nonprofit organization, they will give you a break on renting their meeting rooms. And I think that's very, very helpful, particularly the one on Flamingo has a couple of very nice meeting rooms. You want a side room where the evaluation contestants, the judges can go outside of the main room, work on their tasks as part of the contest, and then rejoin the main room. So side room is really, really important. If you don't have one, it doesn't work well for people to sort of, let's gather in the back of the room. I know at one venue, because I've done a lot of contests over the year, I love contests, as you know, is we actually stepped outside because there wasn't a room. If you have a kitchen, that's great. If you can find a venue that has a kitchen, that will make your life a little easier as well. If it doesn't, you can get by without it. You want a room large enough for 40 to 80 people. Now, this is a pretty wide range, and I'm really guessing here because 40 maybe for an area contest or multiple area contests, 80 for a division. We really don't know what our contests are going to look like. We haven't had an in-person contest for 2 years. So this is going to be sort of a shot in the dark as to how our attendance is going to, what it's going to look like for our first in-person contest season in 2 years. But I would say somewhere in that ballpark range. What are your thoughts on this, Phyllis? Have you been talking to folks? How are they feeling about, I know I have mixed reviews from people who don't like to get back in person and other people say, oh yes, it's time. What's your input?
You know, yes, it is time, but I think we're going to have to really fight with them. I'm sorry to say that word, to get them back into going out and meeting in person. It seems to me that, as I say, my own club is going to start hybrid on the 31st. And I found that there was not any people that wanted to go, or not many. And in my other club that is already hybrid only has like 2 people that show. So I'm concerned as to really how well we will do in in-person contests. I know it was voted on in the council meeting, which is representative of all of the members in Las Vegas or Southern Nevada and Southern Utah. So they want it, but will they really support it? And yeah, it's an iffy question. And I don't think there's any way to predict exactly what's going to happen.
You're right. And I think the sort of what we can look to is our recent TLI, the Toastmasters Learning Institute. We offered this time around both in-person and online opportunities. And I think we had about 40 people show up in person, and then we had about 60 to 70 people show up online. So that does give us some indication of where things are. We may not have that many people show up in person. And I've had folks concerned they would like us to do a hybrid. But and you know, I'm sure the district would be fine with that, but unfortunately, TI says no, we can't do that. They will allow us to live stream the contest, so you can watch it if you're off-site, but you can't be a participant because you have to be there in person, and that's a TI regulation, not something that we have. So anyway, let's move on here. We are going to be running a little over today, I think. One thing I wanted to talk about is when you go to a venue, some venues will ask to see verification that you have insurance. And we do. It's a sanctioned TI event. You can get the insurance verification form from TI. You can download it just as you can the IRS letter, and that will verify that we do have insurance. Some venues will say, I want you to put me on as an additional insured, and TI will help you get that done. So you'll have a certificate to present to your venue, and that will make them comfortable, I think. Not everybody requires it. Now, in terms of supplies and equipment to remember, you need a lectern, if there isn't one at the venue, a US flag. A sound system may be required. Not always, depending on the venue, but I've been in some very large venues in the past where we really needed to have microphones for people in the back of the room and what have you. So something to think about. Some of your members may have that capability, and that may be something, if you really need one, that you might have to rent. Of course, tables for food, raffle items, and for the timers. The timers need to be at a table right up front so the contestants can see them. Timing lights and backup cards. I prefer timing lights. Chairs, of course, would be good. You don't want your audience to stand for several hours. That is not going to go well. Now, in terms of food and beverages, let me go back there a minute. Is there anything I've forgotten here in our general?
Well, I'm just wondering, are we going to have to do the 6 feet with the chairs?
I don't think so. I'll have to double check, but I believe that the state requires that we just wear masks. So
Okay.
yeah, so I think everyone will be fine, whether you're vaccinated or not, to wear masks during the contest if you're in the audience. The speakers, of course, will be 6 feet apart, and they will be allowed to take their masks off while they give their presentation and then put them back on. So that's, I think, how that's going to be held. If we're able to do social distancing, then I think that's always a good idea. Anything else we need to talk about?
No.
Okay, I see I got corrected here. There were 90 online at the TLI last night. So I think that's a pretty substantial number. So more than twice of what we had in person.
Yep.
Okay. Oh. Food and beverages. This is always something, like I said, feed them and they will come. This is one of your expenses, potential expenses. If you can't get food and water donated or coffee, that's something you'll have to purchase. Try to get things that are light and healthy. Like if you're doing a breakfast, you can have fruit, you can have some yogurt or muffins. Those things usually go well. Mini sandwiches go well for lunch time. If you're doing breakfast and lunch, if you're going to be an all day kind of thing. And then snacks, you might have some snacks available for folks. So I think, but I would keep it light. After all, this is not going to be a catered event usually, but you can always go solicit food donations. I know in the past we've gotten donations from Smith's and Albertsons, from Starbucks, who gave us coffee, and Dunkin' Donuts, who gave us donuts or Krispy Kreme. So you can get donations if you do a little legwork and go to these places with the IRS letter. You want to download that IRS letter from TI and explain to them what you need and who you are. Any tips on this, Phyllis?
I think you're right. The letter helps. And we did not mention that, but we are a nonprofit organization and companies will donate to you. It's also nice to have a list of people that donated, maybe on a wall or on a something to the side of your food donations of people that have given to you.
Yeah, a little reader board would be nice.
Yeah, some advertisement for them that they did do it.
Yeah, and then follow up with them when the contest is over and say, hey, I want you to know that we had a very successful contest, thanks in large part to your contribution, and really give them some accolades. I did want to go back to our feed on Facebook here. There's a great comment that I love from Carol. And she suggests, I think she liked the wigs. She suggests that maybe we should have costumes or funny hats for the raffle masters. That's a great idea. And you know who I would, we need a hat and costume consultant. That's going to be Diane Hunter.
Diane Hunter, yes, of course. Yes, she always dresses up for that. She dresses up for Toastmaster also.
Oh, and here's another great question from Carol. Does District 115 have a relationship with the Nevada Restaurant Association, someone who might coordinate donations? Wow, that's a great idea. The answer to my knowledge, Carol, is we do not. But I think that's a wonderful idea, and maybe something we can get our leaders, the area directors and the division directors to talk about. Maybe there's a way for us to make everybody's life a whole lot easier, because I know that a lot of area directors are going out in sort of different directions right now. And I have heard, for those of you who are listening, a good place to go is Target. It appears that they may have some finances that will help you with a donation. So think about Target, think about Walmart, think about Smith's, think about Albertsons, lots of options out there. But I like Carol's suggestion of maybe getting in touch with the Nevada Restaurant Association. Now, let's talk briefly about the budget. I know we're running out of time here. In fact, we are at 6:30. I want to finish this up, and then we will adjourn for the day with announcements. The final thing about this is the budget. And how much is it going to cost? Well, it depends. What are the things that you need to consider? On the revenue side, you're going to have your entry fees, maybe $5 a person, except for contestants. And your raffle sales are actual cash income to the contest itself. Donations, as we talked about, make sure you get that IRS letter. And then just pound the pavement. It's a sales job to introduce folks to potential vendors, to Toastmasters, and to get them to donate. And then you may have some miscellaneous expenses. For example, if you have a theme for the contest, you might want to buy some donations or get some donations given to you to support the theme. I had, it was a spring contest that I was managing way back when. We had our area contest at Findlay Toyota. No, it was Findlay Chevrolet off the 215. And the theme was, let's go to the beach. So we had fishing nets hung up and pictures of beach sign, that kind of thing. You don't have to have a theme. It's really up to the contest chair, but it does kind of make it fun. Now, on the expense side, you may have a venue rental fee. You may have some equipment rental. We talked about the sound system, food and beverages. Now, awards this year, the district is again providing the awards in a box. But if you can, if you do make enough money to help defray some of those expenses, that's more than welcome. So the district will be providing a first and second place, a Toastmaster of the Year, Spark Plug of the Year, and some certificate holders. So there we have it. I'm going to stop sharing here. We didn't get to the section on contest flow, but maybe we can do that at another time. Anything you want to add, Phyllis, before we wrap things up?
We didn't have any expenses for flyers and programs.
Good point.
Someone will print those for you, but if you'd like to have color, you may have to buy somebody a colored cartridge to get them done for you. So kind of think about who's going to do those items for you, because they're as important as everything else, programs and especially flyers.
This is why I'm so glad that you're on the show with me.
I think of things once in a while.
Well, two brains are better than one. Well, I want to thank our viewers for joining us today. We are a little bit over. A couple of real quick announcements. Don't forget that Wake Up with Toastmasters is on Monday through Friday, starting at 6 a.m. If you would like to be a guest, please send me an email at d115cgd@gmail.com. We do have the Educational Enhancement Night coming up on February 12th. We have the District Executive Council meeting on February 5th. All of this will be, of course, in the upcoming newsletter, and then game night on the last Saturday. Also in the newsletter, you will find the schedule for all of the contests, because this newsletter will have another article about contests and will show the dates. And then as we get flyers from the areas, we will make sure that those get posted on Facebook and on our website. Any final thoughts, Phyllis?
Is it too late to add the clubs that are in each area? A lot of people don't know what area they're in. It's surprising.
That's a very good point. I don't know where everybody is on their flyers, but I think it's possible to add that maybe as an addendum to the program.
Okay. Well, as I say, it might be helpful for some people.
Or maybe a whiteboard or something. I don't know. That's a good idea, though. Okay, I want to thank everybody for joining us. Sorry we took a little bit more of your time than we normally do. Hopefully you'll be back tomorrow and Thursday and Friday. We will be here again on Thursday. Have a great day, everybody, and we will sign off. Bye-bye.
Bye.